The Town Star competition happening on December 9th, 2025 will feature the String Lights meta. The craft requirements for string lights are 1 copper wire and 8 lights. It is crafted in the North Pole Creation Lab with a craft time of 2 minutes and stored in the warehouse. For this competition, string lights will give 198,000 stars for each one sold. The trade time for this competition is 60 seconds with a 1 gasoline cost per trade. The starting layout provided for this competition is a plains biome with a desert on the east side, mountain on the south side, and ocean on the west side. There is also an oil seep located closer to the northeast side. The cash boosts for this competition are lights from 28,000 to 56,000 and copper wire from 4,420 to 16,000. The rewards for this competition are the standard Gala rewards for reaching the top 1,200 placements in the leaderboard by the time the competition ends. Rewards are usually distributed directly to your account within 5 days. This is the string lights design that I've created for this upcoming competition. It is doing 11 string lights per hour. I've had this running for almost 20 hours now. No NFTs are required in order to reach this production rate, and I will scroll through the production monitor so you can see the production rate of everything. Everything is pretty well balanced here. I am overproducing lumber, water drums, and silica just to make sure that I have enough of it for everything, but I am using all the limestone and chromium. So if you were to try to improve upon this rate, you would probably need more mines making limestone and chromium. Seeing as I already have the lumber and water drums for them, it's just lacking additional mines. Now the thing is, since we only have 1 mountainside, you can only have up to 16 iron mines. I am using 15 iron mines here. So if you wanted to go beyond this number of mines, you would need to use shallow mines next to preferably the desert edge. I guess you could have them over here on the north edge as well. It just depends on what setup you want, but it would be possible to have some mines here. Just make sure that you have the 3 passive energy required to make limestone or chromium. I do have my sand mines on the ocean edge. The ocean does cast 3-2-1 salty and 3-2-1 sandy or arid, whatever you want to call it. It's this yellow icon right here, and the sandy does positively impact the craft time of the sand mines. If you do not have 3 passive sandy on them, they will not have a green craft timer, and that means it'll take so much longer to get the silica that you need. So all of these sand mines are right here, and this is probably 1 sand mine too many, but it's better to be safe and make some extra silica than not make enough for all of the glass factories, since you need 4 silica per molten glass. And for the mines, as I was saying, it's 15 mines, 10 are making chromium, 5 are making limestone. I do have them in a pattern starting from the right side over here. Pattern is 2 chromium, 1 limestone, and it just repeats 2 chromium, 1 limestone, 2 chromium, 1 limestone, and that's how it goes. All of them have the 3 passive energy. They do have to pick up water drums, which are usually deposited nearby from the water facilities. I have 3 on this side, but most of the water facilities are over here. Now for the tree setup, I did have it close to the desert edge. I think I've seen most people put their trees either in the center or closer to the north edge. At least that's what I've seen from the design competitions that people submitted. I might have been the only one that has the idea of putting them close to the desert edge, because most people were probably thinking, well, I want my sand mines to be closer to the desert edge, and that's probably what they did. Obviously, you can't have the tree farms close to the ocean because the salty would slow them down. So this is just what I ended up doing, but I know for sure that you could have a tree setup, you know, your tree farms either in the center or closer to the north edge. As you can see with my gas setup, since the oil seep is right here, I have the refinery right here with 2 passive crude oil making petroleum, so I didn't need any oil pumps. course, I still need the forklifts to pick up the silica, but this worked well. But if you wanted to have your tree farms either in the center or up here, then you could still have your gas setup pretty much touching this corner over here, and it would work just as well. As for the cash strategy, this build is not very expensive, but I do know some people will probably be using nuclear power since it casts 4 passive energy. As you can see, a lot of energy is required. I believe it was 11 power plants, 7 on the south side, 2 on the west side, and then 2 up north. So that's 11 power plants. If I were to use nuclear power, that might save me like 2 spaces, but then I would need an extra 20 mil cash. And then I would also need to make sure that I'm making enough cash to pay the wages. Now, I'm going to show you the wages on the planner anyways, but just to mention them, they are 28,610 per minute. Now, of course, I have the enchanted ornaments. That's why it's lower for me. I have no issue with wages right now. It's cash positive, but without the enchanted ornaments, there might be an issue with the wages. So this is why I want to mention something that will for sure make this cash positive if it's not already, because according to my math, if you sell 11 string lights and like 10 or about 10 extra copper wire, that's about 1.5 mil per hour, whereas the wages are 1.8 mil. I know you could sell extra gas and sometimes you'll sell silicone stuff, so it might be cash positive, but maybe not. In case it's not cash positive, what you would want to do is replace one of the tree farms with a copper panning site, because you're already overproducing wood. This isn't going to affect your rates. This will let you make more copper, though if one forge is not enough to use all of the copper ore, then you can delete this paved road, build a forge here, and then you will have another forge making copper. It won't negatively impact anything here because it won't reach. So you'll have extra copper, they all get stored here, and then one wire mill is already enough to use that extra copper to make extra copper wire. And since copper wire is cash boosted, that'll give you an extra 20 or maybe 30 copper wire. That's already close to an extra half mil in cash per hour, and that will for sure make it to where it's not cash negative. So if you do not have any NFTs, that is what I would recommend you do just in case. Just build an extra forge and an extra copper panning site. But if you do have enchanted ornaments, or even like the NFTs that reduce wages like the military badges, you probably don't have to worry about that. Now, with all that explained, let's take a look at the Townstar Playbook Planner here. I am covering up one of the spots, but it's actually the empty spot. So this square right here that you can't see, well, I guess I could just do this, is not being utilized. You could just have a builder house there or whatever you want there. The total build cost is 12.7 million. Wages are 28,610 per minute. Like I said, there might be an issue with the wages, it just depends, but if you do what I said with the extra forge, there won't be. Here is all of the objects used for this. Not really gonna go over every single thing here. As you can see, I'm utilizing most of the space. I do have 2 trade depot just in case multiple items are being sold at a time, but you would be fine just using one. Of course, if you have the express depot, then even better. For the panners, you could just use a regular panner house. That's already gonna be enough to pick up all the copper ore, even if you're using 2 copper panning sites. And the North Pole Labs, you would want 4 of them making lights and 1 of them making string lights for this target rate. Now, the planner predicts that this makes close to 12 per hour, but in reality it is making 11 per hour. And I don't think I tested this with 5 lumber mills. It might still work with 5 lumber mills, but you would probably have excess wood going into the lumber yards, which if you don't sell the wood at that point, there's a chance it might jam it up, and then you won't have space to put your lumber. So just keep that in mind. You could put wood on auto sell just in case that happens. Right now with 6 lumber mills, that's not going to happen at all. But yeah, that's always something you want to be careful of and pay attention. Just put anything on auto sell if you think it'll overproduce. Petroleum will not overproduce with this setup, but depending on how you have your refinery set up, you might be overproducing petroleum, so we would want to put that on auto sell as well. As usual, the file will be available on the Townstar Playbook Planner. You can click on search builds and load up the file from there. It's going to say string lights 11 per hour. And that's pretty much it for this design. I don't think it's too difficult. Some people were saying it's going to be difficult without the river. Yes, that means we have to use more ponds, but clearly it can still be done. It might mean you get 1 less string light per hour or something, maybe even 2, but you know, that's just how it is. We have to work with the biome we're given. But hopefully you found this build showcase helpful and informative. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. If you want to help support the channel, you can find links in the description on how to do so. And as always, I appreciate your support and thank you for watching.